that's a bracket. Burp, burp. Trace it. Oh. Holy crap.
Oh yeah, brother.
Welcome back. Are you guys tired of me ruining this pristine classic that we call the Dirty 30? Well, you're in luck, because today we're going to be working on this thing that I've already ruined. It's the flattest flatbed in town with the slickest black paint, and we call it the 40. And today we're going to be working on this thing, so let's get into it. In the last update video that I put out on the 40, I had mentioned that I want to put some train horns on this thing, and almost every single one of the people in the comments agreed that yes, I should definitely put some train horns on it. So I got these train horns here. They say they're super loud, so these are what we're going to be putting in this thing today. We're going to have to build a bracket for it and then wire it up, but in order to wire it up, I want to put it on a pole cable so that it's like a semi-truck. So let's get into it. All right, underneath the bed here is where I want to mount these horns. And they've got a little spot to mount on the back of them right there, and I think I'm going to put them about right here. There's a perfect spot for them in the center of the truck. And this came with a little bracket to mount these, but it's pretty flimsy, so I think I'm going to make my own bracket for it real quick, and then we can bolt it up there. All right, this is the little bracket that it came with to mount it, and you call this a bracket? I don't think so. So I'm going to make it out of this, some really thick aluminum angle iron that I've got lying around. So let me cut a piece of this real quick, turn it into a bracket. Drill it. Sand it. Now that's a bracket. Should be plenty strong enough. This other one probably would have been strong enough, but I needed it to stick down a little bit further because this would have been too close to the bottom of the bed floor. So new bracket here. We just got to bolt this to the horns. Just like that. And then we can stick this under the truck, drill some holes in the bottom of the truck, and bolt this in place. Drill it. Bolt it into place. I also went ahead and changed out this fitting for a 90-degree push to connect on a swivel because I figured it'd look a little cleaner than the straight that was on there. Now we can just connect this probably to this port right here. Let me tighten those up real quick. All right, I got the horns all bolted into place, nice and sturdy. Next I'm going to pull out this plug, and then I'm going to put one of these style fittings in here so that we have a way to connect this to the tank. All right, got the new fitting right here. Put some Teflon on it. Tighten her down. It's got to be tight enough. All right. Now I can just cut a piece of air line. Got some 1/4 inch right here. Stick the air hose in the end of that. And then in this end here. That's how that's gonna work. Now we can look at how we're gonna wire it. All right, before we start the wiring, I'm gonna go on a little side quest since we're gonna be doing some wiring. I think that requires me to tell you a story. When I started building this truck, I had bought the engine and transmission, and it just sat in my barn while I figured out what I was gonna put it in, so I had plenty of time to look at the transmission. And then when I started building the truck, I was basically straddling the transmission for 4 years while I was building it. Then after it was built, I had to take the truck apart in order to paint it, so I was looking at the transmission when it was apart. Then I had to put it all back together, and I put the transmission back in the truck. And then I found out that it wouldn't shift right because the shift forks weren't located in the proper spot, so I had to take it back out of the truck and then pull the top off the transmission and fix the shift forks and put the top back on the transmission and then reinstall it in the truck. Needless to say, I had plenty of times to look at the top of the transmission, which was fine until it came time to wire this thing, and I wanted to wire up the reverse lights, and I realized I didn't know where the reverse light switch was. So a little Googling, and I realized it's supposed to be on the top of the transmission. I thought it would just be on the side of the transmission like all the other transmissions I've worked on, but it's not. It's supposed to be on the top, and because this was a new transmission, it just got shipped with a plug installed where the reverse light switch is supposed to go, and I didn't even notice it, didn't pay attention to it, wasn't thinking about it. And now that it was time to wire up the reverse lights, I couldn't get to it. So I just wired the reverse lights to a switch, and that's the way they've been for the last few years, but I figure since we're gonna be doing some wiring, I might as well try and see if I can get at it and put a reverse light switch in this thing. So I guess before we start on the wiring for the train horns, I'm gonna try and get up into the top of the transmission up here, see if I can get the plug out and put a reverse light switch in there, and then we can wire the reverse lights to the reverse light switch instead of just a toggle switch. So I guess let's try and start on that. Pretty sure that's the plug that it was shipped with. All right, here's the reverse light switch. I'm gonna try and install this. I don't know if I can get it up in there, but we're gonna try. All right. I got the switch installed, but now I gotta try and tighten it, and I think that's where the problem is. I don't know if I can get a wrench in here. Come on. Got the socket on it. No shot. Well, I got that on there. I didn't think that was going to happen. Now all I got to do is put the plug on it, and then we can wire that up. I don't know why I waited so long to do that. I just thought it was going to be more impossible than that, but I guess here we are. Okay, welcome to the interior. So the next thing I want to do is wire up a switch to this, and I want it on a pull cable so I can burp, burp, pull the cable and beep the horn. So I bought this switch, and it works by hooking a cable to this, and it pulls this little pin out, and that's what turns the switch on. Anyway, I'm going to try and mount this up inside the headliner because I want it to be a clean install. So I'm going to drop the headliner on this side right here and then build some kind of bracket to hold this switch up here and then run a cable down through it so that we can pull on it. And then we can run the wires from here down to the train horn. And then while we got the, we've got to pull the seat out to do the wiring. While I've got that, I'm going to wire up the reverse light switch that we just put in too. So let me pull this apart real quick. All right, I want the switch to sit up in here, something like that. And now we can just build a little bracket to hold that in place. Template, scrap piece of aluminum, trace it. Cut it. Okay, here's the bracket. Just bolted the switch into it temporarily. I'm gonna set this up in there and then I'm gonna drill some holes through the cab of the truck so that this will bolt into place. Pro tip, if you wanna drill holes through it and you don't want the drill bit to come all the way through the outside of the cab, just slip a socket over it. Then only this much of the drill bit is sticking out. So when you drill a hole, it'll stop and won't go all the way through to the outside. drill it. Okay, there you can see that the socket stopped the drill bit from poking all the way through the outside. Now I can mark that bracket and drill holes in that. All right, here's where the custom install part gets involved. I put the switch in there just temporarily so I know where exactly it's going to be located. Then I want to take the piece of trim that holds the headliner up there. I'm going to mark where the switch is because I want to weld a tube onto this piece of trim, like a piece of brake line or something that goes up in behind the headliner so that the cable for that switch can run through the tube as like an anti-chafing thing, or like a slide for the cable to go through. That's what I'm gonna do. All right, I'm gonna try and weld that piece of brake line into this, just like that. Okay, just clean that up. That's what that's going to look like. That should help prevent the cable from chafing on the headliner, plus it'll look a lot cleaner. So now I'm going to throw some primer on this and paint it. That way it can dry while I work on the rest of the truck. So let me do that real quick. Ow. Okay, with the interior out of it, I can access all my electrical crap, which I put underneath the seat here, and this wire, this is the wire for the reverse lights. I put that there because I knew I was eventually going to hook them up. So I need to tap into that wire, and then I also need to run a wire up this and to that switch for the train horns. So let me pull some wire real quick. Okay, I got the wires ran for the switch, and I mounted the switch up there. And then I put this little piece of stainless on here. This is from a heater control cable, so it should work just fine for this application. But then I can run the trim piece up here, and then I can bend this into a loop and put a cable on it, or a chain to pull on it. All right, just running the wires down out to the back of the truck and down to the transmission for the reverse light switch. So I've run a coat hanger as a fish tape up through the floor, and the hole in the floor. And I'm going to pull these wires down through it. All right, this is the connector for the reverse light switch on the transmission. I'm just going to solder this to the two wires for the reverse switch. Solder, heat shrink. Just like that. Okay, now I can wrap this wire in some wire loom and then run the wire, plug it in, and see if the reverse lights work. All right, let's see if I got what it takes to get this plugged in. Ooh. I think I got it. All right, let's see if this worked. Oh yeah, they work. It's been unhooked up for like 3 years now, but I also left it hooked up to the switch. In case people are riding too close to me, I can blind them. So that's cool, but check it out. All right, I thought that was gonna be a lot harder than it was. I don't know why I didn't do that until now, but I guess now is as good a time as any. So that's done. Let me wire up the train horn and see if those work. All right, just wired up the solenoid for the horns, and it's real simple. It's literally just a coil of wire inside there, so you just have to hook up power and ground to it, and the power is coming from the switch that we just installed, and then I grounded it over here where all my other grounds are. So now I guess let's try these things and see what they sound like. Oh God, here we go. Holy crap. That's loud. It's freaking loud. I don't know if the camera will pick that up, but it's deafening. All right, just threw the seat and the interior back in it. And now I can look at how we're gonna connect a chain to this. I was gonna put a cable on it, and then I thought, this truck's extra and I'm extra. And so a stainless chain would probably be cooler than a cable. So I'm gonna put this chain on here real quick, see how that looks. All right, just got that hooked up. Looks pretty sweet. It's right where my hand's gonna sit. Pretty sick. I think the only thing left to do is take this thing for a ride and see how much we can terrorize the town. All right, I guess that's gonna be it for this one. It was a little bit harder for me to get people's reactions as I was driving around beeping the horn at them than I thought it would be, but it's to be expected, I guess. There's not as many people out right now as there will be shortly because summer is on its way, so I guess maybe I'll have to try it again once it's warmer and there's more people outside. Plus, I didn't want to just drive around beeping at people obnoxiously. Anyway, the thing is super loud. I know it probably doesn't sound like that on camera or on your computer or whatever you're watching this on, but in person, it is loud. Also, I don't know if I showed the brand. They were made by Klein. I got these from Summit. They say they're loud. They're pretty loud. I think they're loud. I wish it was slightly deeper, but I think you have to have more horns to make it deeper. It's kind of a higher pitched sound, but it works, and now I have a horn, so that's good. The next video I put out is going to be on the Dirty 30. We're going to be building the front bumper for that. In order to do that, I'm going to have to go out here and get after it, and that's what I'm going to do. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss those future videos. And I guess that's going to be it for this. And I don't know if you caught it in the thumbnail or not, but I had the opportunity to go see Cleetus McFarland and watch the Freedom 500 over the weekend, and it was amazing. I'll put some of those clips at the end of this video if you want to check it out, but it was the greatest thing ever. We went there, we partied in the parking lot on Friday before the show started, then we went inside, and it was nonstop action from the minute it started. Cleetus was doing burnouts in the black wing for people, he was taking people for rides, then they had this half-ass Van Prix where they raced a bunch of minivans that they cut in half around the track, and they had a jump set up, and that was pretty sweet. Then the Freedom 500 happened and they raced, and it was a nail biter the entire race, and the last 10 laps was just pure action. It was great. It was amazing. And then after the show, there was fireworks, and the firework display was better than something you would see at Disney. I was blown away by the fireworks show. If you go for anything, you could go just to see the fireworks, and you will be thoroughly impressed, I guarantee it. Anyway, and then on Saturday was the burnout contest, and that was amazing too. The burnout cars are insane. The people were doing burnouts, you couldn't even see anything because it was just pure smoke the entire time, but some people were blowing their cars up, tires were popping, things were getting shredded. It was crazy. We got to meet everybody. Everybody was super nice. The whole place, everybody that runs the place, all the workers that work there, they stop by in the parking lot and talk to you. They're super nice people. And then we got to meet LS George. We got to meet Ty. We met Jack Stan. We even got to meet Travis Pastrana. He was just walking by and stopped and talked to us one day. It was great. And then Brian Deegan, who won the Freedom 500, was staying at our hotel. We were eating breakfast one morning. He just comes walking in casually right after winning an airplane. Anyway, I put some of those clips from our trip at the end of this video if you want to check them out. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next time.
Oh yeah, brother.
Congratulations on your art success.
I got free chapstick.
And you got an extra car and then got back in your car.
Yeah.